Good morning and welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. My name is Barbara Rosen, and I'm serving as your worship associate today. I use she, her pronouns, and am an older white woman. I have white hair, green eyes, and bright clothing on top and white pants. I hail from the Seneca Nations of Upper New York, and we want to acknowledge that here at the church, we are on the lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole peoples. We are a church of many welcomes, and we offer a warm welcome to each one of you. This is a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. To learn more about events, our church calendar is on our website, uutarpon.org, or we'd be happy to talk with you during the coffee hour. For those present with us in the building, we have connection cards. If you're new and you'd like to fill it out so that we can stay in touch with you. We also have small cards at the end of our service. We do joys and concerns. If you have one that you would like to share with us, I can read it at the end of the service, or there will be a time with a microphone that you can come and share that. Our service today is led by our favorite person, storyteller, Katie Green. Katie believes that stories can and do change the world. She's been telling stories and facilitating workshops across the U.S. and beyond for 30 years. Katie is the initiator of Interfaith Story Circle that meets once a month in various houses of worship. She's a member of the Clearwater Friends Meeting, Quaker, and New England Yearly Meeting, www.katiegreenstories.com. Our guest musician today is Katzen Guthrie. Our first piece of music, Morning Has Broken, number 38 in the Gray Hymnal.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from God's word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one night, Eden's salt land. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
There was a child went forth every day, and the first object he looked upon and received with wonder or pity or love or dread, that object he became. And that object became part of him for the day, or for a certain part of the day, or for many years, or stretching cycles of years. And grass, and white and red morning glories, and white and red clover, and the song of the phoebe bird, and the March-born lambs, and the sow's pink faint litter, and the mare's foal, and the cow's calf, and the noisy brood of the barnyard, or by the mire of the pondside, and the fish suspending themselves so curiously below there, and the beautiful, curious liquid, and the water plants with their graceful, flat heads, all became part of him.
Alex will join us to light the chalice. I remember when he couldn't see over the top. Thank you, Alex. We light our chalice with these words from Kimberly Ann Tomzik Carson. We are a people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories tenderly, gleaning wisdom from diverse journeys, united in hope for the future. Guide us to trust in love as we kindle this flame together. And now Jean will read the covenant.
Please join me. We strive to look for and encourage the best in each other as we move toward justice, peace, and love for both ourselves and the world. And when we fall short, we will seek understanding, reconciliation, and a return to covenant.
Please join me in singing Spirit of Life, number 123. Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in, rise to the sea, move in the hand, giving life shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Lest you think that I authored that first poem, for those of you who may have forgotten, it was Walt Whitman. This is from Ben Okre, a novelist and a poet from Nigeria. It is easy to forget how mysterious and mighty stories are. They do their work with all the internal materials of the mind and the self. They become part of you while changing you. Beware the stories you read or tell subtly at night. Beneath the waters of unconscious, they are altering your world. And I forgot, I was not supposed to do that at this time. This is the time for the children's story. We've got one young person, but everybody here is a human being and so loves stories. And the story I've chosen to tell you, I'll walk over there. The story that I've chosen to tell you this morning is the story that my aunts told me when I was about this high. And I wondered why bad things had to happen. Like, why does it have to rain on the day we're having a big picnic? Or, why couldn't my cousin be here today? Or, why did my dog Big Boy get hit by a tractor? And my aunts tried to explain these things with me with a story. This is the story that they told to me, and you may know it. Long, long ago, all of the gods and goddesses met on Mount Olympus. Life was good for the people. They had everything they could possibly wanted, plenty to eat. They danced, they sang, they told stories, they feasted. Life was good. Life was so good that they forgot to honor the gods. And if the gods are not honored, they disappear. Zeus and all of the gods and goddesses were concerned. They called a large meeting. And they talked and talked and talked, and they planned about what they should do to teach these people a lesson, to bring them back to honoring the gods. They decided to make a woman out of clay and water. And when that was done, they dressed her in silvery robes. And then the gods and goddesses gave her gifts. Athena gave her the gift of wisdom. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, made her beautiful and charming. Hermes, the god of trade, gave her clear speech. And Zeus gave her curiosity. One by one, all of the gods and goddesses gave her gifts. They named her Pandora, which means gift to all. And there she was, all alive and ready to be set down on earth. And when she was on earth, before she went to earth, Zeus came forward and gave her one more gift. He gave her a golden box and an instruction. Give this box to your husband when you marry, unopened. Now, when Pandora was placed on earth, everybody loved her. Of course, she was beautiful, she was intelligent, she was kind, and she had many, many suitors. But the one who courted her the best and who loved her the most was Epimetheus. And so she married Epimetheus. And once they were married, she gave him the golden box and told him, Zeus gave this to me. He told me not that I should not open it. Ooh, Epimetheus was suspicious. He knew that sometimes the gods played tricks on human beings. He said, let's just put this box over here on the shelf, and I will go and speak with my brother Prometheus and see what he thinks about this. And so he left. Now, Prometheus's home was 2 days' journey away. And while her husband was away, Pandora did all those things that a new bride might do. She tidied the house. She rearranged the furniture. She did it all again. She put flowers in every room. And when all of that was done, she sat down and waited. And still Epimetheus had not returned. She looked at that box on the shelf. It seemed like it was a little bit larger. that curiosity began to wiggle inside her. And she looked at that box again, and it seemed to be shaking a little bit. It seemed to be saying, "Open me, open me, open me." And Pandora thought, "Oh, the gods and goddesses have given me so many gifts. It won't hurt just to take a little peek." And so she got the box and she opened it just a tiny bit. It was dark inside. She couldn't see anything at all. She'd try again. She opened it up just a little tiny bit more, and she heard a funny noise. And then she just could not hold back her curiosity anymore. It was just like a raging lion inside her. And so she opened the box all the way, and out of the box came a dark cloud that filled the room and then separated into tiny little buzzing creatures flying all over the house and then zoop, zoop, zoop outside the windows. Pandora sat down and cried and felt guilty. Now, in the meantime, Epimetheus had come to his brother's home, and he had spoken with Prometheus, and Prometheus said this, "You are right to be suspicious. You should hurry home as fast as possible and dig a deep hole and bury that box so that nobody can ever open it." And so Epimetheus started home very, very quickly. But the closer he came to home, the more things that he saw he did not like. For instance, the crops looked diseased. The fruit and the vegetables were not good. And then as he came even closer, he saw people who usually danced and sang together, arguing and fighting. And then at last he saw some people sitting at a great feast, while others had nothing to eat. He was very troubled. When he went into his home, there was Pandora weeping. "Pandora, what happened?" And Pandora told him that she had opened the box. She explained what had happened, and she wept, and Epimetheus said, Wait. Was there anything else in that box?" And Pandora said, "I don't know, there might have been. I didn't look. I just don't even care." "I think we should look." "I don't want to look anymore," she said. But together they did, because Epimetheus convinced her. They picked up that box and they opened it together, and there, on the bottom of the box, there was a golden spot. And out of that spot, they saw a green shoot, a stalk coming up. And on the edge of that stalk, a flower, and it bloomed. It was an iris, the symbol of the gods. It was hope. And so we have hope today. Whenever things are very dark and bleak, our hope is awakened. We know that after every storm, there's a blue sky. And after the darkest night, the sun will rise because of hope.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
The purpose of our church is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous in spirit and in action. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will most gratefully be received. And the next piece of music is called Passages.
I gaze upon the open waters. My feet are rooted in the sand. With each breath, I feel the force of life, echoing God's eternal plan. How do I contemplate such beauty? The vastness of each galaxy, each blade of grass that hides a tiny soul, all part of our divinity. Where have we been? Where are we going? We've touched so many generations with our own. We have been travelers in the desert, but we have never been alone. We journey to one destination and gain compassion from our struggle, from our strife. Now let us live in celebration of our passages of life. We reach our hand out to another. We chart a path on endless seas. We build a bridge to wisdom, peace, and joy, a bridge that spans a century. We've made our way through darkened forests, searching for light to lead us home. Through paths of fear, we've made our way to faith. Now we no longer need to roam. Where have we been? Where are we going? We've touched so many generations with our own. We have been travelers in the desert, but we have never been alone. We dwell in constant exploration, gaining compassion from our struggle and our strife. Now let us live in celebration of our passages of life. So much to give to make a difference. We form our heaven from this earth. We share one dream, one timeless destiny that we've inherited from birth. To plant a tree, to write a story, to meditate on stars above. Each sunrise yields new treasures and rewards. We leave a legacy of love. Where have we been? Where are we going? We've touched so many generations with our own. We have been travelers in the desert, but we have never been alone. We dwell in sacred obligation to gain compassion from our struggle and our strife, to live in celebration of our passages, to live in celebration of our passages. Oh, let us live in celebration of our passages of life.
Joy. Thank you, friends. I have the program in my hand now, so I know what's supposed to happen when. And this is time for a moment of silence. Blessings. My teacher, J. O'Callahan, says a good poem deserves to be heard more than once. So it is my pleasure to share again the short poem by Ben Okri, Nigerian novelist and poet. I find it especially meaningful in these days. It is easy to forget how mysterious and mighty stories are. They do their work with all the internal materials of the mind and self. They become part of you, changing you. Beware the stories you read or tell subtly at night, beneath the waters of consciousness. They are altering your world.
Let us sing one song for the turning of the world, that we may turn as one. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our turning. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echoes of our turning. Let us sing one song for the loving of the world, that we may love as one. With every voice, with every song, let us move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our loving. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice and every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our loving. Let us sing this song for the healing of the world, that we may heal as one. With every voice and every song, let us move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our healing. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice and every song, we will move this world along, that our lives will feel the echo of our healing. Let us sing this song for the dreaming of the world, that that we may dream as one. With every voice and every song, let us move this world along, that our lives will know the echo of our dreaming. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice and every song, let us move this world along, that our lives will know the echo of our dreaming, that our lives will know the echo of our healing, that our lives will know the echo of our loving, that our lives will feel the echo of our turning.
I want to thank you for the invitation, the opportunity to return. Some of you have heard me say that if I were not a Quaker, I would probably be here every Sunday. It was about a year ago that I last stood in the pulpit, and I told you a story from Morocco, from Marrakesh, the Red Lantern. You know, inviting a storyteller and a Quaker to stand in the pulpit can be chancy. We storytellers like to link our story that we're telling with the time that we're telling it and with the people we're telling it to. And you know, Quakers speak from the spirit, from what moves them right then, from that small voice. So I feel a really strong connection with Tarpon Springs UU because of the stated mission, which we've already heard this morning, but which is worth repeating. We're a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. It speaks to my heart. So, when I told Kristina that I would be here today, and I would talk about myth and meaning, I was planning on telling the story Pandora, which I did, but I was also planning on sharing the story of Persephone and Demeter with you. But then last week, when I looked at my version of that, I went, oh no, wrong story, wrong time. Wrong listeners. I can't do that story. And then I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? I don't have anything to say. I have nothing to offer these people. So I did what Quakers do. I sat and I prayed for way to come, as we say, waiting for that small, still voice to give me a hint as to what I should say. And what I heard was, talk about what you know, and that's storytelling. Storytelling, myth, yes. So I'm going to share with you what storytelling has meant to me. You know, I'm often asked, how long have you been telling stories? And I often say, as long as I've been talking. When I was way little, relatives used to say, what is it, Nancy Kate? Don't ever call me Nancy Kate, please. Just only my family can do that. Call me Katie or Kate. Okay. But they would say, Nancy Kate, you sound like you've been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. When I was a little bit older and my girlfriends and I would go to the movies and then have an overnight, we'd crawl in bed and my girlfriend would say, tell the story of the movie. And so I would tell the movie and they would go to sleep while I was telling. But I remember the very, very first time that I heard a storyteller. It was in an art gallery in Worcester, and I was completely mesmerized. I was taken to a different place. Everything, all those burdens I came into that building with, disappeared. I could see it was magic. And the same thing when I was teaching a class in Marlborough, Massachusetts for children with language learning problems. You know, I would always read to them. I'd always read a story to them. But one day, after hearing that storyteller, I decided to tell them a story. And I told them a story, and they were just like this. And after they heard the story, when they had free play, they were playing the story. They were acting it out. The story had become part of them. So the stories and myths, mythology, that's the ancient stories with profound insights about life, existence, human journey. Myth. Ancient narratives that attempt to answer the enduring and fundamental questions. Who am I? Why am I here? How should I behave? What's good? What has value? What happens when I die? Questions of mystery. Myths address those questions about life and meaning. These are the same questions that religions address. Karen Armstrong, the Catholic theologian, tells us that all religions are one. The stories and the rituals are window dressing, embroidery. I attended the UU Church in Worcester, Massachusetts, and it was a large brick building. It had 8 metal religious symbols on the front of it. You remember, don't you? There was the UU symbol of the lit lantern. There was, the Star of David, the cross for Christianity, the Buddhist symbol, Taoist. There was a pagan symbol, Islamic symbol, and one that I have looked and looked to find out what it was for, and I can't find it anywhere on the internet. But the curriculum of that particular UU church was based on their understanding of native spirituality and paganism. It's interesting. When I embraced storytelling as the central point of my life, I came to love those ancient stories, the myths, and I dream of those days when a story could last all evening, or maybe even for days. Those myths and those long, long ancient stories take a lot of concentration and deeper thought than we are used to giving them today. And when I first started telling stories, both to children and adults, I was telling from a literary perspective. But now, every time I tell a story, I get a different meaning. I get more meaning from it. Today, I believe, as the Native American people believe, and many other cultures believe, stories are sacred. So many scholars, and a lot of storytellers too, say that a myth is a story from a religion that is not your own. And when I'm asked what kind of stories I tell, I say, I tell stories of truth, folk, and fairy. But I also tell historical stories, and I tell myths, and I tell family stories, and a few original ones. And I know that storytelling makes that heart-to-heart connection that is not available in theaters or in reading a book. When a story successfully creates that sense of awe or the awareness of mystery of life, it can provide a mystical experience, like a myth that's deeply understood. It can open the listener's minds and hearts to something that is not often talked about. Now, Joseph Campbell's work on a hero, the journey of a hero, is very, very popular today and has influenced most of our movies, Star Wars, etc., etc. And so we have come to expect that we can be saved by the good guy with the gun. Stories we tell reflect about what we are about, and they define who we are. So when we as a culture have lost the stories, lost the awareness, the deep awareness of those stories that were being told, when we've lost or become unattached from the intention of the story, or the storyteller, rather, we're in trouble. When mass media and television are the primary storytellers, we're lost. Today, people don't have time for the long stories. We don't make the space to go deep into the ancient stories. Stories of love, loss, suffering, anger, success. Yeah, we still have those, but they're not deep anymore. The myths of today are like little blinks. The word myth means something different, doesn't it? That's a myth. It's a commonly held belief that's not really true. And we're surrounded with them today, aren't we? That whole idea of truth is becoming distorted. And at the same time this is happening, the attendance at religious organizations is dwindling. Yeah. I read that it was from a Christian website, I will tell you that the people who identify as having no religion, no religious affiliation, is dwindling. Those who identify as non-religious are 40% of the millennials, 30% of Generation X, that's my kids. And those who say they have no religion and are of my boomer generation, 22%. So we're the ones that hang on, and we look around our churches and say, oh my, we all have silver hair, don't we? Or most of us. And there's a reason. Okay? The stories are not fitting the people's needs right now. The myths are not felt to the level that they were. Some people say that those myths need to be wrapped up in ritual and prayer and religion to work. And so we need to create our own myths. It's not to say to leave those other ones behind. They're precious. When you have time to go deep with them. Hello. But for now, I'm going to ask you to reflect later on what stories have affected your life. What are the stories that you hear and tell? And where do these stories come from? Who told them to you? Because stories and storytelling are a direct link to our humanity. People often think storytelling, oh, that's for kids. And it's true. Children love stories, but it's not because they're little, it's because they're human beings. They're still caught up in their own journey and their own experience. But in these confusing and these complicated times that we're living through today, stories become even more important. As time goes on, we're going to be working more and more with people who may not think the same way we think. We need to be able to hear them. We need to be able to understand their language of spirituality. Maybe they use different words. It's all one God. I understand Tarpon Springs UU has a storytelling group. It's great. I hope it's still going on. The interfaith story circle that I started last year has been very popular, and there are people even from Tarpon Springs who come down when we go as far as Clearwater. For once a month we meet. We have a topic. We have storytellers who speak on that theme, whether it be the environment or hope. And then we divide into small groups. You have hosted an interfaith story circle here at your church. Thank you. We may ask you if you want to do it again. I've had people come up to me and tell me how meaningful it is for them to be able to come together with people, and now people are starting to get to know each other. How meaningful it is for them to come and talk about deep things, that values. One person said, if we had more events like this, Katie, there'd probably be less violence in the world. And I agree. Stories are the way we learn about each other. And now I'm going to take a right angle turn, and I am going to tell you a story. Rhyme and reason. This is a personal story from about 20 years ago. Our daughter Althea was 15 years old one day when she came in with 2 parakeets. Look what I bought. The cage was free. Now, I don't like caged birds. I told Althea if she was going to keep them, she had to keep them up in her room because I didn't like the mess of feathers and seeds all over the place. And she did that. She named the birds Rhyme and Reason after 2 characters from one of her favorite books, The Phantom Tollbooth. The birds were blue with some gray on their back, and I said to her, Althea, how do you know which bird is Rhyme and which bird is Reason? And she said, oh, that's easy, Mom. There's no stripes on Reason's back, because after all, it's pure reason. Well, she kept the birds up there, and that was fine. She did a good job. But that summer, she went away for the entire summer to be a junior counselor at a camp. Phil and I got a little bit worried about those 2 birds up in her bedroom all alone day and night, and we thought they might get bored. So Phil hung a hanger for the cage in the corner of our living room. Now, when we were in Massachusetts, our house downstairs was just one big room. There was the living room, the dining room, and the kitchen, and you could see all over. So when he hung that cage over in the corner of the living room, I could see it when I was in the kitchen. Now, until those birds came downstairs, I never realized exactly how noisy parakeets are. They chatter on and on. They may start slow, but then they escalate, and the decibel level gets higher and higher and higher, and then they slow down. It's like they go on and on and on. No rhyme or reason whatsoever. Well, one day, I was in the kitchen washing dishes, And the birds were just starting to escalate their chatter when I heard thunk. Now, when you live in the woods and you have big windows, thunk can only mean one thing, bird hitting the window. Now, at the very same moment that I heard that thunk, those parakeets stopped chattering. And I looked over. They were looking down at the deck. But where their cage hung, they could look out to the south window and see the garden, or they could look out to the west window, and there was a deck there in the woods. They were looking down on the deck. Quiet. And their silence was even louder than their chattering had been a minute ago. I went over and I looked down where they were looking, and there, laying on the deck, was a young blue jay. Little stick legs just sticking up in the air, its wings were fluttering, and it was moving its head like it was trying to get up, and it was really suffering, and I thought, oh dear. And just at that moment, our big fluffy red cat came and started rubbing against my ankles and looking at that little bird. Meow, meow, boy, there's one I can catch. I picked up Lucy and took her downstairs to the cellar, came back upstairs, and those parakeets were still looking down. Yep, that little blue jay was still there, just like, looked like he might have been like a little teenager, just buzzing around, flying here and there, not a care in the world, and then, thunk. I hoped he might die soon. I didn't want him to suffer. I thought about picking him up, and then I thought, no, that will just make him more frightened. I went back to the kitchen to finish what I was doing, and I saw a shadow out of the corner of my eye. And now, when I looked at the parakeets, they were looking out into the woods. I went back, and sure enough, that young blue jay had flown away. I was so pleased. Well, I finished the kitchen, I picked up a pen and paper, and I went out onto the deck and the table to write a letter to our daughter Althea away at camp. And in my letter, I told her about what had happened with Rhyme and Reason and the baby blue jay. And as I wrote, a little blue jay came and sat on the railing of the deck, not 4 feet away from me. I looked at it. It was looking at those sliding glass doors. And then it looked at me and back at those sliding glass doors. And I realized that's got to be the same little bird. It must have come back to see what had knocked him out of the air. Just flying around, not a care in the world, and bonk. Well, the bird looked at me, I looked at him, and it felt as though we were both acknowledging what had happened to him. And then, as silently as he had appeared, he flew away into the woods. I could hear the parakeets inside chattering. They had no idea, they couldn't see the railing, so they had no idea that that little blue jay had returned. But there they went on, chattering. No rhyme or reason. And then I thought, wait. Maybe there is a reason for their chatter. And maybe my human ears just can't hear the rhyme and reason. Now, I believe the story of Rhyme and Reason is a sacred story. The experience of watching the birds, offering a prayer that Althea would recover just as well as the little bird did. And I realized that that prayer of a recovery for any kid who is, I mean, when you grow up in this world, there's going to be bumps and bruises. You're going to get knocked out of the air. And I did offer a prayer that any bump or bruise that would knock Althea out of the air, she would recover just as quickly as that little bird. And that's my prayer for all young people. That's my prayer for all of us. So there are stories all around us. It's up to us just to take the time and the space in our busy life to notice what's going on and to talk about what we've noticed. Story is just a frame that we humans use to put on the experience of living. For without story, we cannot see the rhyme or reason of life. And I will close this with a quote from Joseph Campbell, who says, "People say that what we're all seeking is a meaning for life. I don't think that's what we're really seeking. I think what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonance within our innermost reality, so that we can actually feel the rapture of being alive." Thank you.
Please join me in singing Love Will Guide Us, 131. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like nature, if you cannot speak for them, you can read from deep within you. You can have a word with your love. Love will guide us, peace has cried us, hope inside us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the night.
The closing words come from Rumi. I sometimes forget that I was created for joy. My mind is too busy. My heart is too heavy for me to remember that I have been called to the dance, the sacred dance of life. I was created to smile, to love, to be lifted up and to lift others up. O sacred one, untangle my feet from all that trap. Free my soul that we might dance, and that our dancing might be infectious.
I wish you joy, the kind you only get from knowing that you have loved somebody else. I wish you peace and that feeling of contentment when you remove all the resentment from your life. I wish you joy, I wish you peace, I wish you more than you will need. I wish you unconditional love. I wish you hope that keeps you looking toward tomorrow and away from yesterday. I wish you faith in yourself and all humanity, and the belief that we will finally live as one. I wish you joy, I wish you peace, I wish you more than you will need. I wish you unconditional love. I'm a dreamer and I know it, and so I hope your dreams come true. When you believe in the impossible, everything's possible for you. I wish you kindness from every neighbor, friend, and stranger, and may it always be your way. I wish you love, the kind that doesn't need a reason, no apologies or pleas, and just because. I wish you joy, I wish you peace, I wish you more than you need. I wish you unconditional love. I'm a dreamer and I'm proud of it. I hope your dreams come true. When you believe in the impossible, everything's possible for you. Your love, the kind you only get from knowing that you have loved somebody else. I wish you love, the kind that doesn't need reason, no apologies or pleas, just because. I wish you joy, I wish you peace, I wish you more than you will ever need. I wish you unconditional, abundantly givable, unconditional love. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We hope that you found meaning in today's service. We close with these words from Melissa Jeter. From this ground, let us sow mercy, justice, and compassion. Let us offer our stories to provide our staples of wisdom. And when we do, let us create and experience the presence and affirmation that allows us to connect with our theological imaginations, so that the harvest of our faith will be